Good afternoon and welcome to EyeOnSheridan. I'm Lucas Metz.
And I'm Molly Brown. In the news today, did a school strip search violate a Quebec student's civil rights? 2 Brampton teens face assault charges for attacking a police officer. And how effective is Sheridan's Zero Waste initiative?
But first, a 58-year-old woman is dead following a hit and run in downtown Toronto last night. The woman was struck at around 1:30 near Dundas and Sherbourne. She was pronounced dead shortly after being taken to hospital. Police are looking for a silver mid-sized sedan that they believe fled the scene. Authorities are scanning security footage in hopes of tracking the vehicle down. They say the vehicle should be easy to locate due to the significant front-end damage sustained during the collision. Anyone with information is being asked to contact police. A man is dead after a multi-vehicle crash that has closed down Highway 7 east of Peterborough. Police say 2 minivans, a car, and a pickup truck collided at around 8:15 a.m. this morning. A 35-year-old man suffered serious injuries and died while being rushed to hospital. The highway is still closed while police investigate.
A man is in hospital and his common law partner is in custody following a domestic dispute in Scarborough this morning. The male is in his 30s and was rushed to Sunnybrook Trauma Centre with stab wounds to his abdomen after police received a call from their Lawrence Avenue and Markham Road apartment. While police have 1 female in custody, there's no word yet on any charges being laid.
Peel Regional Police say 4 men have been charged in connection with a Brampton kidnapping last September. According to investigators, a 32-year-old man was driving home early in the morning when he was stopped and forcibly removed from his vehicle. The victim was held captive for 15 hours and was repeatedly assaulted during that time. He was only released after he agreed to pay the kidnappers.
2 teenage girls are facing assault charges for attacking a police officer, and the skirmish was caught on tape. The incident occurred Tuesday afternoon around noon outside the St. Marguerite de Vale School on Dixie Road in Brampton. A struggle broke out as one of the teens was being arrested for trespassing. The video shows one of the suspects slapping a female officer while the other is seen pulling the officer back as the girls ran away. The teens have been charged with assault and escaping lawful custody. They are scheduled to appear in court on March 17th in Brampton.
Luca Magnotta has dropped his case for an appeal and is open to the possibility of meeting his victim's father.
It's more in the spirit of truth and reconciliation, to the extent that something can be shared and answer the father's questions, perhaps. Although, to what extent, I don't know, but I think it would be beneficial.
Leclerc told reporters both decisions were made by his client, although the possibility of meeting the victim's father has been discussed for a while. Magnotta was found guilty in the 2012 slaying of Chinese engineering student Lin Jun. Magnotta launched an appeal last month to be cleared of criminal charges due to a mental disorder. Leclerc said that Magnotta feared facing 12 jurors and a new trial process.
Ottawa police have laid various charges against a Canada man after all city police stations were forced into lockdown 4 hours due to a Facebook threat. Jonathan Tooley was charged with public mischief and 3 counts of uttering threats. A woman was arrested during the investigation but was later released without charges. All stations reopened just before 5 p.m. last night.
Quebec's education minister is under fire for defending high school officials who strip-searched a 15-year-old female student they suspected of selling drugs.
But I just feel so violated and uncomfortable.
Do they have the qualifications of police?
The student told a Quebec newspaper that school officials told her to take off her clothes as they searched her body for drugs, but found nothing. Quebec's education minister said that strip searches are reasonable when security is in question. Most school boards agree that if a school suspects a student has drugs, the matter should be turned over to police. Kathleen Wynne hopes a new proposed sex ed curriculum will be available only within weeks. In grade 3, the new curriculum will cover homosexuality. In grade 6, discussions about puberty will be encouraged. And in grade 7, students will learn about STD and STI prevention. Progressive conservative Monte McNaughton spoke against the move, saying parents should have more input on the issue.
Sheridan College has a zero waste initiative, but how well are you recycling? Our reporter Ryan Russell hit the halls to find out.
I do know how to properly use them. That doesn't mean I necessarily use them properly.
Sheridan College has implemented a zero waste project at all 3 campuses to help students with disposing their trash and recyclables in an efficient and proper way.
It is really good for the school, it's good for the environment. If people used it more, it would be awesome.
The purpose of the project is to have all discarded materials become resources for others to use. The Zero Waste Project is a great idea for Sheridan, but are the students using it properly? We talked to Tammy Lee at Student Services to shed a little bit of light on some of the problems with the project.
So the 3 different bin sections are one for organics, one for called mixed recycling, and then one for trash. A lot of people are really rushed for time too. You always see them kind of just throwing stuff into the trash. They don't actually stop to sort. The pictures that are on the actual bins are really small. You don't really know what they are. So that's also kind of adds to the whole just throwing it all into one bin.
Probably I'd say the main thing would just be if people don't really care. Like I know some people, they don't want to recycle, they just don't want to take the time even though it takes 2 seconds.
You can find these bins located all over the campus, and trust me people, there are a lot of them. The more faculty and students get involved, the better our environment will be. Live at Trafalgar campus, I'm Ryan Rossell for EyeOnSheridan.
The TTC is deploying 4 test trains to identify a problem that stopped service for hours yesterday. A train stopped in a tunnel near Midland Station, trapping 43 passengers on their morning commute. The Toronto Transit Service said last night it was still unclear whether the problem was caused by an issue with the track or the train itself. The harsh cold could also cause flooding at St. Patrick's Station and Bathurst Station. Shuttle buses have been utilized to supplement train services in the meantime.
So it's clear these frigid temperatures are slowing down the GTA, but when will it warm up? Let's head outside to Nathan for a weather update. Nathan?
Thanks, Lucas. Snow keeps falling and the cold keeps coming. With the harsh weather conditions around the GTA, we forget how lucky we are that we didn't have to pull out a shovel as much as other parts of the country. Paving the way isn't easy, especially when you live in the Maritimes. With 80 centimeters of snow getting dumped onto the region, the weather conditions make it impossible to go to work or to just get out of your home. With snowbanks climbing over 9 feet, people find themselves stuck in endless mounts of white snow. That's it for me. Back to you guys in that nice, cozy studio.
Thanks, Nathan. The weather might be cold, but Gabby Mendoza met with some young Sheridan entrepreneurs who are heating things up. Gabby, what can you tell us about Enactus?
Thanks, Lucas. So students that want to build their entrepreneurial skills, network, and want a taste of competition should definitely check out Enactus Sheridan. Enactus is a non-profit organization run by students for students, and I went to check it out.
How are you guys doing today? So good. Good? Woo. Good?
Enactus was brought to Sheridan in 2012 by Brian McClatchy and has been up and running ever since.
EyeOnSheridan Sheridan is a nonprofit organization that mobilizes college and university students to creating sustainable and long-lasting change in their communities by harnessing the power of entrepreneurship. Students want to get involved with EyeOnSheridan because it helps you with your networking skills, your resume building skills, as well as you're going to be learning stuff on teams that you might not necessarily be learning in your classes.
It doesn't need to be business students. It can be anybody because you get to use whatever skills you have to tailor projects that we're doing to something that fit your skill set.
This is a great community to be a part of. You get to be not only a part of the Sheridan community, but there's a whole network of teams across Canada and across the world.
This is Enactus. They have projects to help the community.
Being part of Enactus also gives you the opportunity to be involved in regional and national competitions.
We go in and we showcase on 3 different competition factors. First one is environmental, the second one is entrepreneurship, and the third one is financial literacy. So we showcase how our projects affect those 3 triple bottom line factors.
Enactus Sheridan is getting ready to compete in the Enactus Canada Regionals on March 8th through 9th in Mississauga. The outcome of this event will determine if the Sheridan group moves on to the national event. The Enactus team meets every Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the HNC campus, and every Sheridan student is more than welcome to come. For more information on Enactus Sheridan, make sure to follow them on Twitter at Enactus Sheridan. Reporting live from the Learning Commons, I'm Gabby Mendoza. Now back to the studio.
We're that much closer to Easter. Lent is roughly a 6-week period, not including Sundays, and is dedicated to reflecting preparation and fasting for Western Christians. The ashes, which are applied to the forehead in a cross-like shape, come from the palms from past Palm Sundays. Today is also the beginning of celebrations for Chinese New Year. Dozens of lantern shows have been staged across Chinese cities to celebrate. Tomorrow is the first day of the lunar year and is the most important holiday on the Chinese calendar. Celebrations last for a week and factories across China have shut down. Traditionally, people travel back home for the holidays, so factory workers began taking work 2 weeks in advance.
And it's also award season, and with the Oscars approaching, let's head over to Danielle for what we can expect later in entertainment. Danielle?
Coming up in entertainment, Sheridan celebrates the Oscars and Andre Rooms sits down with the man behind pre-visual effects for some of your favourite movies, including Star Wars and Gravity. Now over to Jared telling us what's coming up in sports.
Thanks, Danielle. The Leafs continue their losing ways at home despite the addition of a former All-Star to their lineup. A-Rod says he's sorry for being a cheat, and Champions League soccer comes to round things off. I'll have more for you shortly. Back to you, Molly.
After the break, we'll have the latest on the conflict in the Ukraine.
And 30 people are dead after a bombing in Nigeria. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to EyeOnSheridan. Toronto Mayor John Tory met with the Minister of Infrastructure, Communities and Intergovernmental Affairs, Denis Lebel, in Ottawa this morning. The meeting is to discuss his $8 billion Smart Track Express rail proposed for the GTA. Tory previously met with the Liberal leader Justin Trudeau, NDP leader Thomas Mulcair, and Transportation Minister Lisa Raitt. Tory told media that he's received encouragement for his Smart Track proposal. The Supreme Court has given Parliament about a year to come up with a new right to die law. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau wants all MPs to gather for a national debate to talk about this contentious issue. The debate is over the right for consenting adults suffering with intolerable physical or mental suffering to seek medical help in ending their lives.
The Conservative Party is more popular than it has been in a year. According to the latest numbers from Nanos, the Liberals maintain a 3-point lead with 57 points out of 100. However, the Tories follow closely with 54 points. The NDP are at 48, and the Greens sit at 30. The last time the Conservatives were this popular was October 2013, which was prior to the worst of the Senate expenses controversy.
More Canadians are expecting to be working past the age of 65, according to an annual poll conducted by Sun Life Financial. About 60% of the respondents believe they would be working either full or part-time by the age of 65 because they won't have enough money from the government benefits or enough saved to maintain a decent lifestyle.
The White House is hosting a 3-day summit this week on countering violent extremism. The Obama administration hopes to tackle the root causes of homegrown extremism in communities and how to address it around the world. Peter King of the Homeland Security Committee says there needs to be a greater emphasis on Islamic extremism.
We're not talking about extremism generally or terrorism generally. This terrorist threat to us today comes from a small but very violent segment of Muslims. If we are going to address the core reasons, we should also then show why this is not truly representative of Islam.
U.S. President Barack Obama has painted the campaign as one against radicalization and extremism, but he avoided honing in on exclusively Muslim extremists. Obama also identified other extremist attacks not perpetrated in the name of Islam, such as the attacks on a Sikh temple in Wisconsin in 2012 and on a Jewish community center last year. both perpetrated by white supremacists.
About 30 people were killed at a funeral when an unidentified plane bombed a village in Nigeria's Borno state earlier today. The airstrike happened in a village near where soldiers from Chad and Niger were stationed to combat Boko Haram terrorist forces. Military officials told media it's possible the mourners were mistaken for terrorists by Nigerian forces. Nigeria's Air Force denies responsibility for the incident. Denmark's Prime Minister joined hundreds of mourners at today's funeral for a security guard shot and killed. Denmark was left in a panic after a gunman opened fire at a synagogue and a free speech forum in Copenhagen over the weekend. One of those killed was Jewish community Dan Uzan, who was honored at the funeral. The suspect in both attacks is Omar Hamid El Hussein. Authorities are still investigating the shootings.
Ukrainian forces are withdrawing from the key railroad town of Debaltseve. Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko took to Twitter this morning to announce that 80% of his forces vacated the town. He's also denied claims that Ukrainian troops were encircled by Russian-backed rebel forces, despite Russian claims to the contrary. Fighting has continued throughout the region despite a ceasefire brokered by European leaders that took effect last Sunday. The 10-month-long conflict has escalated international tensions to levels not seen since the Cold War. And in response to the escalating acts of aggression shown by those same Russian-backed rebels, Canada is taking action. Prime Minister Harper has enacted additional sanctions against Russia, but the Russians have dismissed them. Russia's Foreign Office scoffed at the sanctions, claiming they are nothing but a lame attempt to prevent the eastern Ukrainian ceasefire. Harper announced travel bans and economic sanctions on Tuesday against Russian and Ukrainian individuals and entities, including leading Russian oil firm Rosneft. Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, visited the grounds of a pottery factory in Britain today. The factory produces mugs that support charity. Kate briefly spoke with supporters watching her tour the facility. The Duchess is now showing her pregnancy with her second child. She's expected to give birth in late March. And after the break, we check in with Danielle for what's happening in the world of entertainment.
And Jared joins us for the latest in sports news. We'll be right back. Welcome back to EyeOnSheridan. Jared Clarkson joins us now for the latest in sports news.
All right, Jared, so you have any good sports news for me today or what?
You'd have to define good, Lucas. The Leafs tried really hard last night. The Florida Panthers landed at the hangar to take on the free-falling Leafs. Tyler Bozak opened the scoring on the power play, converting a pass from JVR, 1-0 Leafs. Florida tied it up with a Thomas Fleischmann one-timer early in the second. Then with the Leafs defenders scrambling, Fleischmann found Nick Bjugstad alone at the side of the net to make it 2-1. Brian Campbell's point shot took a deflection off Jimmy Hayes and then Roman Polak to beat Bernier to put the Leafs down by 2. Phil Kessel got a late consolation goal, but it wasn't enough as Florida won 3-2. Around the NHL, Dallas captain Jamie Benn collected his first career hat-trick, while Jason Spezza chipped in with 3 assists as the Stars manhandled the St. Louis Blues 4-1. The win moves the Stars 4 points behind San Jose for the last Western Conference playoff spot. Alexander Ovechkin scored his league-leading 37th goal and then set up Joel Ward's winner to give the Washington Capitals a 3-1 win over Pittsburgh. John Carlson rounded out the Caps scoring into an empty net as Washington's record improves against the Penguins to 3-0 this season. Alex Rodriguez has issued an apology for the misdeeds that led to his suspension from Major League Baseball in 2014. Rodriguez said he regrets his actions and apologized to Major League Baseball, the Yankees, Steinbrenner family, the Players Association, and to you, the fans, for embarrassing the game. UEFA Champions League moved back onto the big stage last night with the first matches in the knockout round. The feature match had Paris Saint-Germain at home to BPL leaders Chelsea, who were looking to score the all-important away goal. Midway through the first half, and Branislav Ivanovic got the goal with help from John Terry and Gary Cahill. On 54 minutes, PSG's Mathieu Edi's cross found Cavani at the back post to nod home the equalizer. The game ended in a 1-1 draw. Today's matches have Porto taking on Basel. Defending champions Real Madrid are away to Schalke. Sheridan Bruins men's volleyball team closed out the regular season this past weekend with a loss to Niagara. Let's find out if a postseason run is in the cards. Despite losing a tough game in their season finale, Sheridan men's volleyball coach Dave Chi believes his team will be ready when they go up against Canadore in a do-or-die playoff game.
Yeah, it was a disappointing loss. I would classify that as an anomaly because we played pretty hard all year. So it's an elimination game, so we're going to be ready for them this Saturday.
Leading the charge are veterans Josh Butler and Jeremy Fanton. 4 years into their career, they know what it takes to win a championship.
So we just have to remember that we are a great team and we're going to play like a great team. Just have that confidence that we all know we have inside. Just be the players that we can be.
It's all mental, right? If you come ready to play and you come giving 110%, and if you play your hardest, win or lose, you're going to still have your head high. So that's all we're trying to do.
Sheridan men's volleyball team hasn't won a championship in over 20 years. For Butler and Fenton, it's about a little bit more than that. The two best friends came to Sheridan so that they could win a championship together, something that they hope to accomplish this season.
That would be an unbelievable experience. Definitely a memory that I'd call back on when I'm around, probably 60 years old. So it's just something, like a dream that would happen right there.
When we came here, that's all we talked about was getting that medal. So we're hungry and we're hoping that we can lead the team to a huge victory for us as individuals, for coach, and for the school.
That's all from me for sports. Now over to Danielle with entertainment.
Thanks, Jared. Sheridan students and staff are invited to celebrate red carpet Oscar parties this week at all three campuses. 3 former Sheridan students who are now Hollywood directors will be competing for the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. The big party will be on Sunday night at the Marquee in the Oakville campus. Chris Edwards, the CEO of the Third Floor and the man behind the pre-visual effects in movies like Gravity, Star Wars, and the television show Game of Thrones, spoke to Sheridan students this past week. Andre Room sat down and talked to him.
EyeOnSheridan was in Toronto for the Chris Edwards event at TIFF. Students from the TV and film department were excited about the opportunity to learn from an industry pro.
My name is Chris Edwards, and I'm the CEO and creative director at a studio called The Third Floor. Yeah, the history of previs actually comes from filmmakers just planning their approach to what they're going to do on set, and that used to be in the form of just storyboarding or maybe making a model of what the set would look like. So these days, though, you can use digital technology as a way of actually animating that whole scene in advance. And part of why I'm here to speak is to tell people that this is just the beginning, really, of a big new series of changes in our industry that I think are going to be very empowering of the future filmmakers.
We caught up with Sheridan's pre-viz expert and spoke to him about the program and the future it holds for its graduates.
We're uniquely positioned because we offer the curriculum, and we also have access to a world-class research facility like CERT.
For EyeOnSheridan, I'm Andre Rooms.
What pest should I get? A new Dr. Seuss book will be released this summer. The manuscript was found in Dr. Seuss, aka Theodore Giselle's California home. Giselle died in 1991, but it was only recently that his widow and secretary found the story. It will be published by Random House Children's Books in July. Comedy Central has started their mockery of Justin Bieber. It was in response to an incident last year where Bieber was charged with vandalizing his neighbor's home by egging them. The Bee will be roasted by the Comedy Central team, hosted by Kevin Hart. No set date has been announced. Smartphone maker BlackBerry is suing Ryan Seacrest. His company, Typo Products, created a keyboard for the iPhone that BlackBerry claims is a trademark infringement of their signature keyboard. The company declined to comment on the lawsuit. Drake's new mixtape album has set a new record on Spotify, hitting 17.3 million streams in just 3 days. If you're reading this, it's too late. Was released on Friday. This new album has already surpassed his last one. Well, that's all for entertainment. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Danielle. We'll head outside for weather with Nathan when we get back.
Join us after the break.
Welcome back to EyeOnSheridan.
Well, it certainly feels like there's no end to this winter.
Let's head outside for the 5-day forecast. Nathan, are these freezing temperatures here to stay?
Well, sadly, Lucas, it seems like the cold is going nowhere. With the frigid temperatures continuing, you're going to be expecting a lot more colder temperatures throughout the week. And that's right, Sheridan. Be expecting to put those onesies on. We are currently sitting at -7 with a wind chill bringing it to -12. As we make our way to the evening, expect our temperatures to drop to -13. That's right, Sheridan. Stay warm as much as possible. And I'm going to bring you guys to your 5-day forecast. Tomorrow we'll have a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -15 and a low of -21. Heading into Friday, expect sunny skies with the high being -15 and the low being -23. Saturday, you can expect some light flurries with a high of -5 and a low of -17. Sunday brings mainly sunny skies with a high of -5 and a low of -12. Monday is mainly sunny with a high of -13 and the low being -17. With all this snow, with all the sun, you expect the snow to just melt away. Think again. Temperatures are going to be breaking records as the week goes on, and be expecting to keep that warmth. Thank you. Back to you guys in the studio.
Beagle won the top dog title at the Westminster Dog Show at Madison Square Garden. The 4-year-old Beagle Miss P triumphed last night in the final best-of-7 round, beating an Old English sheepdog and a Shih Tzu named Rocket. The dog and her owner also took home top honor in the hound category on Monday night. A poodle from Toronto named Flame was also a finalist in the competition. What a hot dog.
And the people of PEI aren't the only ones feeling cabin fever. The CBC's Mitch Cormier couldn't make it to work because of the record 86.8 centimeter snowfall. So while working from home, he captured this video of his cat Mitty trying to get outside. The video features Mitty the cat looking at the snow in a confused state and then proceeding to try and dig through the snow and jump over it, but eventually gives up and uses the garage. Good idea. For those in PEI, the huge amount of snow is definitely not the cat's meow.
That's all for today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Molly Brown.
And I'm Lucas Metz. Remember to follow us on Twitter at EyeOnSheridan. We'll see you next week.